Can you all see my screen, presentation screen? Am I audible? Please make sure that, then we'll proceed with the session. Can anyone write it in a chat box? Yes, yes. Thank you for your responses. Welcome back to the course Mobile Communication and Computing. In today's session, we'll be discussing about the telecommunication standards and generations. In the previous lecture and previous session, we were discussing about the different key terminologies which are involving in mobile communication and then computing related the terms, right? And we discussed about the different the devices like the personal digital assistant, and then we discussed about the four type of categories, which is the fixed and then the wire and then the fixed and then the wireless and then the mobile and then wireless, right? And so that were the different classification. We discussed about the combination of wired and then the mobile communication. Then we discussed about what is user mobility and then device portability, and then we discussed about the different applications where this the mobile communication or the wireless communication which are broadly used, right? Then in the last lecture especially we discussed about the different history of the wireless as well as the telecommunication devices, right? And actually which has started from using the smoking signals and then light signals. Then we discussed about how they they were used as short wavelength and then short waves and then long wave for communication. And we started discussing about how they started using a telegrams, and then we discussed about the Morse code and then frequency modulation, and then we discussed about that how the electromagnetic induction which was used to convey the information, right? And so these were the important the milestone which we discussed when we're discussing about the history of the telecommunications. And in today's session, we'll be talking with that the telecommunication standards and then generations. And so these are the learning objectives for this session. First, we'll have the introduction. Then we'll discuss about why we need to go for the standard. I think the few of the objective which we covered in the previous session also, right? And we will revise, and then we will move further, and then we'll discuss about the different bodies of standardization which exist and what are the roles of that standardization or bodies. And then we'll discuss about the ITU history, which is International Telecommunication Union, and where it is started, when it has started, and what are the different sector or different focus on by the ITU. And then we'll discuss about the different generation which we started from the zero generation to whatever the fourth generation we use, and then what are the expected generation which may comes in the futures, and what are the technologies which will be involved in that upcoming generations also. So these are the learning objective for the session. And we'll move to the introduction. When you talk about the introduction, the telecommunication plays a vital role in our everyday's life. Every month, so we are hardly we live without the mobile phones, and we are using. There are a lot of applications, and we need highly dependent on the mobile devices because rather using a call, rather talking to someone, there are a lot of applications and a lot of purposes we are using for the mobile, right? And in order to find a location, in order to find any locations, in order to you reach a particular place, right? You can use the Google Maps, and then you'll find out the location, as well as that will be mostly used for the entertainment purpose, where you will use the multimedia contents, and then you will be getting the live stream, as well as you can able to talk through the video calls to your the near and dears, right? And so these are the different important things, are different features or applications, I could say that, with the help of the mobile phones, right? And we are completely depending on the mobile phones, as well as so the generation, when we talk about the mobile communication or wireless communication, which has started somewhere in near about 17th century, and from that it took a different dimensions and then different revolutions. Finally, what the mobile phone which is the advanced as well as the latest technologies, rather than the mobile, and you may have the camera phones. I mean, you may have the sensor, and I mean you may have the composers, and then no, you can use the multiple purposes, right? So when we talk about the revolution or introduction of the telecommunication industry, which has started actually in the year of 1970, where actually the zero generation, or I could say the first generation telecommunication, which was started. And why we need to go for the standard? Why, when we are talking about the standards, when we talk about the standards, why these standards are required? When we talk about the standards, So there are certain bodies and they will define the standards. For example, any type of product, in order to manufacture something, there are certain bodies as well as boards, and they will define the different specification of the particular product, right? Whether whatever the product it could be, in order to market their product into the international level, right? They need to follow the specific standard. Again, why we need to have the standard? Again, I could say that suppose if I have the mobile, suppose if any manufacturer is trying to produce or is trying to develop a charger or a 3.5 jack, that product or that I could say that that product has to be manufactured based on the specification which is given by the body or the standards, right? Otherwise, what will happen? So there will be no interoperability, and the device may not be adapted to this code, right? So very similar to that, in order to adapt with the existing technologies, right? The manufacturer company as well as the products, and they're supposed to use the standards in order to make their products to be compatible with the existing as well as the standard equipments, right? Apart from that, in order to ensure the quality of the product, whatever the and then the consistency of the evolutions in case if any technological or any advancement changes in the industry as well as in the technological devices according to that, right? And the body, they will keep on revising the standards. Based on that, the manufacturer, they need to update their policies as well as manufacturing method as per the standards. They need to produce their products, as well as I mentioned, the similar to the international market, right? And in order to sell their products globally, and they're supposed to follow the standards. And then reliability of the product which comes here whenever in case of any damages or anything which happens to the particular product, again there could be the possibilities of the replacing if the manufacturer is using the specific standard. So these are the certain facts and why we need to go for the standards. When we talk about the different bodies of standardization, basically there are two bodies and there are so many bodies. When we talk about the telecommunication industries, basically there are two bodies. The first one is that ITU. ITU stands for International Telecommunication Unions, and so this is the internationally recognized, this is completely recognized by United Nations for the telecommunication or developments. Again, where I could say that it is no, which governs for the development of the telecommunication products, maybe a new model or any other frequencies, or the radio spectrum management as well as any technological based infrastructure development. All these sectors, all these the parts which were completely taken care by this International Telecommunication Union. Again, the second one is that ETSI, which stands for European Telecommunication Standard Institute. So again, so this is also one of the bodies of standardization, which again which provides certain guidelines as well as again the regulator is in order to develop or any new telecommunication services as well as the development in the product. Apart from that, apart from these standard, bodies of standardization, there are some other volunteer organization and which are used on 3GPP and then 3GPP2. So these are the third generation partnership protocol, and which was used in the previous I could say that the previous years, right? And so they were given the guidelines how the third generation technology which were to be used, right? When we talk about the history of the telecommunication, International Telecommunication Union, so which was started in the year of 1965, and initially that time they were using only the telegraphy, and so it started in the year of 1865 with the telegraphy in Paris, and later in the year of 1947, which was recognized by the United Nations, ITU, and become a United Nations recognized agency in the year of 1940s. And then before that, and we'll quickly revise, and the few the technologies which were used before 1947, and year of 1865, International Telegraphy Union was which was started. So initially, this ITU, International Telecommunication Union, initially it was called as International Telegraphy Union. In the year of 1865, that years and those years, right, there were only the telegraphy. That time there was no telephones, and the later part in the year of 1885, and they have used a telephony, and then in the year of 1903 and then 1906 they have used a wireless telegraphy and then radio telegraph conventions, and later part they combined all these wireless and then radio telegraph, and then they have started with the new technological methods. And then in the year of 1947, United Nations recognized again ITU as a recognized body, and then in the year of 1992, and So they felt that the ITU singly cannot manage all types of activities. So they converted into ITU as a three sectors, right? So again, so this is a simple diagram how the revolutionary which takes place from the telegram and then mobile phones, right? When you talk about ITU, this International Telecommunication Union, which has a three sectors, right? So which called as that ITUR, ITUD, and then ITUT. Out of that, ITUR, which completely taken care for the radio spectrum management, right? Again, the allocation of the frequencies, what are the frequencies to be used for different types of services, right? Again, ITUD, which is completely taken care for the standards. I mean, sorry, the development. In case if any development which takes place, say for example, early they were using only the Bluetooth and then infrared. Now it has become Zigbee. Maybe in future some other frequency, some other development which may take place in the telecommunications way, right? Again, IEEE we say that 802.11 and then Wi-Fi, WiMAX. Maybe in future some other technology which may comes. All this development which is completely taken care by this ITUD. Again, when you talk about ITUD, again, which completely taken care by that signaling and then the standards and other things, right? So we'll discuss what are the roles and the responsibilities which is completely the tasks which are completely managed by the three sectors. When we talk about ITUR, so this International Telecommunication Union, so which is completely focuses on the radio transmission. When you talk about the radio transmission, this sector which completely focuses on the spectrum management. When you talk about the spectrum again, which is a frequency which is used for a telecommunication purposes, right? Again, so this is the organization or body which is going to provide or allocate the frequencies for all type of telecommunications. Say for example, again there is a need of the specific band frequency for the 2G, and what are the frequency to be assigned for the 3G spectrum or the 4G and then 5G. All these, the allocation of the frequency so that that should not overlap with the existing technology as well as the new technology. So that is completely managed by this ITUR, right? So you we'll have the separate session with that based on that the radio wave propagation as well as the frequencies, which again the electromagnetic waves. In that we'll completely discuss about what was the frequency which is lies under what type of wavelengths, right? Whether it's the short wavelength and then the other frequencies, right? That we will cover in the separate session. For time being, you listen the word which is the spectrum. In that we will be using allocation of the frequencies for the specific services that will take place. Again, apart from that, the radio wave propagation. When we talk about this radio wave propagation, again the transmission of the signal from one place to other place, whether the wave should be reflected from the ionosphere or whether the wave should be transmitted which is touching with the surface of the ground, right? So all these things which is completely guided by the radio transmission. Again, we will have the separate section for this radio wave propagation, right? Again, the fixed satellite services, again how the signal which will be connected to this satellite, in case if they are using the CDMA phone, again in case of if it is the satellite phones, and then the broadcasting services. When we talk about the broadcasting services, what is meant by broadcasting? Any idea? Unicast, multicast, and then broadcasting. And then I hope that you studied this in the computer network. When we talk about unicast, one-to-one communications. Again, multicast means one-to-many communications, transmission of the data at a time. When you talk about the broadcastings, again only one source will be there that will be keep on transmitting the data, and as many users they are tuning to the particular frequency or the spectrum, and they can hear the whatever the data which they are broadcasting. So for example, broadcasting services like the allocating the frequencies for the FM transmission or radio transmissions, right? Again, we are might be knowing about the red FM which is 93.5 and then 91.7 big FM. All these these radio channels, they are operating on the specific frequency. Again, allocating the frequency for that radio broadcasting as well as the satellite, the TV broadcasting. So for example, and in our TV, and we are getting more than 100 channel, near about 500 channels. When you're tuning into the particular frequency, and based on the frequency, and then we will be fetching, or we will be getting the different videos whatever which is relayed or which are broadcast on the specific frequency. Allocating to these frequencies which are completely for both the radio transmission as well as FM transmission, and then the naval communication, right, which we use as far as the wireless transmission, right, maybe whatever the walkie-talkie, the other purposes, as well as the TV broadcasting, all these things which completely taken care by this the radio transmission in terms of allocating the frequencies, as well as the mobile services, and then the fixed network infrastructure services. How this see, whenever we are trying to connect from our mobile phone to the base station, right, through, I mean, through wireless communication, and automatically from our mobile again, so that information which has to be connected to the fixed services. When you talk about the fixed services, any type of devices which is placed at this specific place, maybe you are the base station, you might be finding that different network towers, right, and which will be connected to your mobile phone through the wireless communication mode. From that again, so that will be connected with the specific fiber optic cable to the next base station. So managing all these components again, which is completely taken care by this ITUR. So when we talk about ITU, which consists of three sectors. The first one is for radio transmission, which whatever the concept which I was explaining, all these tasks which are completely managed by radio transmission. So when you talk about ITUT, which is completely focuses on the standardization of any product or any services, whatever it may be, right? Again, it is completely focuses on operational aspects. When you talk about how the connection has to be established in case of other services like the call waiting services, and what are the voice messages which has to be transmitted, how these all type of services, suppose if you are trying to browse something, and what will be the data rate for that services, all these completely defined by this the ITUT, and then tariff, and then accounting, right, again. So in our country again, there is a separate agency or separate board which is there, TRAI, which is Telecom Regulation Authority of India. So which is completely taken care by the whatever the aspect which is mentioned in the standardization also. And so they will be defining that what will be the minimum charges for the incoming calls as well as the outgoing calls, right? And I wanted to know that how many of you paid money for your incoming calls? Have you ever experienced that whenever you get an incoming call, how many of you paid money for that? It's like in just an interesting one thing. I wanted to say that. How many of you paid for your incoming calls? Anyone experience with that? Just you can write it in the chat box quickly. How many of you are experience with the roaming deduction? No one. Okay, shall I assume that no one is experienced with that deduction of your amount for your incoming calls? I remember one incident, and we experienced a lot when we are using the mobile phone GSM phone in the year of in the mid of 2000. I have, like, I think Abdul Had, I assume that it is for roaming, right? Or incoming calls. It's for roaming, I guess that. In the year of near about 1999 or 2000, right, that time, I got a GSM phone which was Nokia 1100, and which was that time we got a SIM card, and that time the telephone operator, they used to charge for incoming calls also. Even if I get an incoming call, I need to pay. I had paid near about 3.5 rupees for 1 minute of incoming call, and you are all lucky that you do not pay any charge for that incoming call. Even if I get incoming call, I had to pay that, right? Even if I'm going to my native places, other than my what I could say, that in case other than the rural to the town, right? So it was considered as the roaming. I need to pay separate money for that. In case if I get incoming call, in case if I'm using my mobile phone out of my coverage area. So these were things which was completely managed by different ITU T, the tariff and then accounting bill, which was the tax was completely managed by ITU-T again. Now, whatever mobile phone we have, there is no nationwide roaming. Earlier it was a state-wise roaming. Now there is no nationwide roaming, right? And wherever you go, you're free to get your incoming calls. Now, still there is existence of international roaming. Suppose if you are moving to some other country, and you will be charged as per their regulations. Again, the third aspect which focuses for that the protections as well as the integrated broadband services. When you talk about the broadband, I just wanted to know what is the minimum data rate. We are talking about the broadband services, broadband. What is the minimum data rate in the broadband? Is any guess? Quickly you can write it in chat box. What is the standard data rate downloading as uploading speed when we talk about the broadband? If anyone says that, if anyone expecting you to have the broadband, the minimum data transmission speed, which is 2 Mbps, right? Other than that, so this ITU2, ITU-T, which focuses on the signaling and protocol, right? How the protocol which has to be used for, transmitting the signals, right, and other things. And then we used for the multimedia service management, right? And a transmission of your the video, audio, and other things, and then data net and software. So this completely depends on that. The net, the data transfer speed or downloading as well as uploading speeds, and what are the software which is to be used to improve the performance. All these, the functional aspect which was completely governed by the ITU-T. So when we talk about that ITU-D, which is completely taken care for the developments, right? I was talking about the three sectors. ITU, International Telecommunication Union, which has the three sectors. The first one is for ITU-R, which is taken care by the radio frequency, the radio transmission, right? And then when you talk about ITU-D, which is for completely focuses on the development in case of any development in the technology or any products, right? And that will be completely covered by ITU-T. When you talk about ITU-T, which is completely taken care for the standardization in case of any no standardization which is required, so that will be completely taken care by that ITU-T. So these were the three sectors of ITU. Are you clear with that? What are the different roles which is governed by ITU-T? Shall we proceed further? Okay. Next, and we are going to discuss about the different generations of telecommunications. As we'll start from zero generation, first generation, 2, 3, 4, 5, and though 5G, which is not no existed in our country, and 5G, which is already implemented in some other countries, which are developed countries, and then we'll discuss about what are the technologies, what are the other services we could afford with that, or we used with that generations. Now, before starting with the generations, and so these are the glimpses of the technological, so which we uses, maybe, so which were used in the previous generation people, right? You'll find that here in the year of 1920. So this we call it as the dial phone, right, and the rotary dial phone. And so here so this is the place where you will speak, and so this is the earphone, and this is the speaker mic where you're supposed to use. Again, so here is the rotary dial phone, again, where you need to rotate the numbers and dial the numbers. And then later in the year of 1964, Motorola, which is introduced again, S12 to 16 anti-talkie. So this was almost in a box in the size. So this was no heavyweight, and so the phones which were used in the cars, and which used to kept on the car. And so what was the problem with this type of phones? And so it was which requires the complete power supply. Always there is this mobile phone which has to be connected with the power supply. And the later part in the year of 1982, the Mobira Senator, which was introduced by the Nokia, and so this was, when compared with this Motorola, so this was smaller in size, but this is also heavyweight, and which is connected with the separate battery. So here the bottom which you see is that the battery, there will be the permanent battery backup which is to be connected with this device, and which is used to provide the services. Here in the top you have the dial pad, and then you will have the handle receiver, mic, as well as speaker, and that will be used to make a calls. Again, so in the year of 1973, Martin Cooper, who introduced, and I could say that the Martin Cooper is the father of the handheld phone, and who was introduced that the first handheld phone. Here you can see that. So here, so this was though bigger in size, and it is specially equipped with the transmitter, and I could say that again. So there are some dial pads, and what was the problem with this device is that the battery, and so this may took near about 10 hours to 12 hours to completely charge. After that, once if it fully charged, if they start operating it, whatever the power which is there, and the charges which will be disposed within 30 minutes. And apart from that, again, so they were continuously they were researching on that, and finally, so that time, so again, so the advanced version of that, the same this type of handheld phone which was introduced by Motorola Dyna again. So here Martin Cooper, one of the allied partner with this company, again Dynatac, which is again released in the year of 1983 again. So they improved the size, and they reduced the size, and they try to improve the battery usage. And then later in the year of 1985, again the Siemens they introduced the again the I could say that the box, the briefcase model telephone again. So here whatever the person he has here, this is again a battery, right, which is completely connected with the mobile phone. So this the phone which is compact in size, but the power which is required, which was the power battery which we uses in car, right? Very similar today, what we use is a big battery for the car. Very similar to them, they had a big battery, and actually the actual handheld which took place from in the year of 1987, again the Nokia, which was introduced a Mobina Cityman. So this was a complete compact model, right, which had only the dial pads, and they improved the battery. The battery backup, right? So here in the bottom they had the microphones, and in the up they had the speakers. Again they fixed that antenna, the transmitter receiver in the outside. So this was, I could say that this was the complete handled the compact mobile phone which was started in the year of 1987. So in the later part 1989, the Motorola MicroTac which was released, right? Okay, so when compared to the previous model, so this is very smaller in size. I could say that it's a teeny phone, and this was designed in such a way that it's the folding, right? So when you talk about that the folding, so here they placed the microphone over here, so which was provided a good receiving of the voice, right, and the message. And they have used for other purposes also. When they closes this the dial pad, when it closes this fold, automatically the dial pad will be locked, so that so unintentional or maybe unknowingly you cannot press, you cannot dial anything on the dial pad. But the problem was that, right, here the dial pad, see here, other than that the dial pad and the other numbers, other than the dialing numbers, they were not able to do anything. So though it was smaller in size, and so this could able to display only the numbers. But later part, again the Nokia which is released 1992, which is 101 model, right, which was very similar to this the Motorola MicroTac. But again, so here they improved the display area a little better again. So they did not add with the flip-flop models, right? Now the people, whenever this type of mobile phone which was introduced in the market, and the people more afraid about that, whether this actual cell phone this may cause cancer to the human beings, right? So in order to overcome these kind of fears and then factors, again they started keep on researching with all other things, and finally they come to with the solution that now instead of placing the transmitter outside, right, and they were started placing the transmitter receiver inside the phone, so it looks like a normal phone, so that the people by seeing it, they don't get any fear whether they may get what type of cancer and other diseases, right? So this was the actual phone which was started, right, which was in the year of near about 1998 and then 2000s. After that, so every mobile companies, mobile company, who are producing the mobile phone, and they started placing the transmitter inside that telephone itself, equipment itself. And this was the first phone which was introduced by the BlackBerry, which is 5810 model. So they you can find that the bigger in screen, right, and they can use multiple purposes, right, cameras and then the music and the browsers, right. And so that time they were started with the GSM, the second generation model, and they were used the QWERTY keyboard, QWERTY, the same keyboard model which we uses in our computer, laptop keyboards, right. And what was the problem they faced with this model is that almost 30 to 40%, almost 50% of the place, which is completely especially dedicated for the keyboards, or whenever they wanted to press something, and so this space which is completely occupied. So to avoid that, and the later part of the Google, they have decided that to go with that the surface computing, or the touch display or touch pad, right? Where that whenever there is a need of using the keypads only that time, so they can use this the dial pad or some the numbers automatically after that, so that will be automatically hidden, so that so they improve that the display part, right? Automatically they're working on that. No, where they could improve that the bigger in size, I mean bigger display, and then improve battery performance, and then virtual keyboards, right? So these are the different, no, I could say the different, no, mobile phones evolutions which were started from the 1970s until whatever we have the advanced phones, right? Which is more or less equal to our laptops or computer we have, right? We may be having that 8 GB of RAM, and then no 512 GB of no ROM memories, and then no more than no two, I mean 52 megapixel camera, and then 50 megapixel cameras, right? And we could download the speeds, I mean data, or we can do the live streaming of the like cricket, whatever it may be, live uh, programs, right? So these are the different, no, I could say the different, no, the generations are different path, right? Where it has started from 1972 the till date. When you talk about the generations of telecommunications, first we'll discuss about zero generations, right? Which was called the pre-cellular mobile phone technology, which almost used in the year of 1970. And so these phones usually mounted on a car, truck, and then the briefcase models were used that time, as I mentioned when explaining the diagram. So briefcase model which were used in this generations, right? And which was basically used by the Finland and the Germany in the year of 1971 and the 72. So here this was the first, no, I could say that this is a pre-cellular phone before using the first generation phone. When you talk about the first generation, which was introduced near in 90s, right? And so which was using analog transmission for speech services. When you talk about the first generation phone, in the first generation, the people they have used this phone only for the voice communications, right? Apart from that, when you talk about the analog transmission, when we talk about the analog transmission, whatever the speech which I speak, right? All my information, all my voice data, everything which was transmitted in the form of analog signal, which is a sine wave transmission. What is the problem with this sine wave transmission means, in case if the sine wave which touches, or in case if this is no, again, so this could cause damages to whenever it faces or whenever it hits to the natural obstacles. Say for example, if the sine wave signal which is forced to lose the signal, in case if it is any might be the tree or building or any other places, right? Again, so this signal which were not able to, you know, pass to the longer distances, right? And after that, so in the first generation technology, they were using that AMPS, which was advanced mobile phone system, which they use as a circuit switch or circuit oriented communication. And apart from that, they operate, I mean, the frequency which was used to operate the first generation phone, which was in 1824 megahertz to 1894 megahertz. And in the later part, we will discuss about what is this hertz and then kilohertz, megahertz, and we have this separate topic for that, which will be covered under that electromagnetic spectrum, right? For time being, you listen this word, and in order to use in bidirectional communications, right, or the duplex communication, right? And we all might be knowing about what is the duplex communication. When we use a duplex communication, and both the communication or transmission as well as receiving which takes place simultaneously at the same time, right? In order to do that, and we need to have a separate frequency for transmission as well as reception of the signals, right? Again, so here, in case if you in case if the session ends, right, after 10 minutes you can rejoin the session with the same ID and then password, right? I need a few times to save the records, I mean save the video recordings, right? And the uplinks which was used for near about 825 megahertz to 845 megahertz for uplink. When we talk about uplink is a process in which, right, your data will be transmitted from your mobile equipment to the base station, right? From your